wonder if Dad's all right. That's right.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Anime Sensei Reaction. In the last episode, Mao Mao became involved in another complicated case inside the Imperial Palace, and once again her knowledge of medicine helped expose details that nobody else noticed. We also saw Jin Shi continue relying on Mao Mao more and more, even though she clearly keeps trying to avoid standing out. One of the most interesting parts was seeing how rumors and fear spread through the rear palace so quickly, especially among the servants and consorts. The atmosphere around the Jade Pavilion still feels tense because Lady Gyokuyu's position near the Emperor naturally creates jealousy and danger from the other factions. Mao Mao also keeps showing that she understands both poisons and human behavior incredibly well, which honestly makes every investigation more satisfying to watch. For episode 7, I'm expecting another mystery connected to palace politics, and I have a feeling Mao Mao may accidentally uncover something much bigger than she intended. Let's jump into it.
After the garden banquet yesterday.
What are you talking about?
The minister who ate the poison is in terrible condition.
You're sick and need lots of rest.
Not that I mind getting some extra sleep, but noon is a little excessive. I don't feel at ease without Freckles.
You're up? You'd have been welcome to take the day off.
I'm rested. Please let me know what you require.
Seems your freckles are back.
I feel naked when they're gone. With your permission, I'd like to keep them.
It's for the best. Everyone's been dying to know more about the new lady-in-waiting after the tasting incident.
I've caused you distress.
Oh, it's fine. Now Goshen's been here all morning, so what should we do with him?
Huh?
The man seemed bored, so I sent him out to the garden to pull weeds.
Weeding the garden. Back at the garden party, he was seated where a high-ranking official would be. What a humble guy. If he keeps this up, he's bound to steal the hearts of a few ladies-in-waiting. I wish to speak with him. May I use the parlor?
Oh, of course you can. Hongyang?
Yes, ma'am. Is it just me, or is Hongyang a bit sparkly-eyed these days?
As you asked, from Master Jinshi.
This soup, it's the same one Lady Gyokyo was supposed to drink yesterday.
Yes.
That was good of him.
Promise you won't drink it?
There's no need. Silver tarnishes very quickly. The metal bowl has already oxidized. It's no longer tasty.
What a shame.
When you picked up the bowl, did you use your bare hands?
No, I was careful not to. I scooped a bit into a spoon to see if it was poisoned. Then I immediately wrapped the bowl in a cloth.
The memory of her father came to Mao Mao like a drifting shadow suspended between sleep and waking. In the stillness of her dream, she stood somewhere she knew by heart, though it looked softened by time, as if years had washed over it like gentle rain. The air carried the faint scent of old medicine and dried herbs, the kind that had lingered around her childhood for as long as she could remember. There, in the distance, sat the man who had raised her. His back looked slightly more bent than before, his hair carrying more traces of age, yet the quiet steadiness surrounding him remained unchanged. Even in the dream, Mao Mao's first thoughts were not sentimental ones. She wondered if he was eating properly, whether his body was still healthy enough to work long hours, whether loneliness had finally begun catching up to him after all the months she had spent away inside the palace walls. She wanted to call out to him, but dreams were cruel things. The moment she tried to move closer, the image dissolved like smoke, leaving only a lingering ache behind. When morning arrived, the atmosphere inside the residence felt far heavier than usual. Servants whispered nervously in corners, their faces tense from the rumors that had spread through the inner palace overnight. The poisoning at the banquet had become the only topic anyone wished to discuss. The head steward collapsing after tasting the soup had shaken everyone badly, and fear now drifted through the palace corridors like an invisible sickness. Because Mao Mao had become deeply involved in uncovering the incident, the servants no longer treated her as an ordinary maid. Too many people had begun noticing her abilities. Too many secrets connected to her had already surfaced. The matter involving the incense residue she had secretly recreated was no longer hidden, and now that the truth had come out, there was supposedly no reason for her to continue such work. As a result, Everyone around her insisted she rest. They hovered constantly, refusing to allow her near anything physically demanding, speaking to her with exaggerated caution as though she might collapse at any moment. To anyone else, the break would have been welcome. To Mao Mao, it felt strangely unbearable. Her body had grown used to constant motion. Day after day, she had repeated the same routines until they became instinctive. Suddenly stopping left her unsettled. Her hands twitched with the urge to grind herbs, mix powders, or examine strange substances. Even silence itself became irritating.
A moment, if you please. Click, click, click. Gather, gather, gather.
You've brought cotton, powder, and a brush.
That's right.
What will you do with them?
Back at the apothecary where I used to work, we would dop the canisters and jars that weren't supposed to be touched with a special sort of dye. I'm applying the same idea here. It's quite easy. All you have to do is place a little powder on a cotton ball. Then you dust the bowl. Finally, we brush off the excess flour, and there we go. As I thought.
It left white traces on the metal.
Someone else picked it up with their hands. Whenever your fingers touch a surface, they will leave behind a small mark. They're especially visible on silverware, which easily corrodes. That's why you thoroughly wipe items made from it before they're used.
In other words, whoever left behind these finger marks on the bowl would have had to have touched the metal after it had already been polished.
Exactly my point. By examining the size and positions of the fingerprints, we should be able to deduce how it was held. Looks like the bowl was touched by...
What have you discovered?
Nothing. I believe there are 4 people who are likely to have touched it.
4, you say?
We have 3 who handled it around the base. The one who poured the soup, the one who carried it, and Lady Li Shu's taster. But there was another handler, an outsider who touched the rim of the bowl. This unknown person, I believe they are the one who poisoned the soup.
If your theory is correct, why would a taster's print be on a high-ranking concubine's bowl?
The answer's simple. Lady Li Shu's taster swapped it on purpose as a form of harassment, not knowing it was poisoned.
Why would she?
She's a bully.
Harassing a concubine? You're sure?
Hard for you to believe, huh?
Sitting still made her feel less like a person and more like an abandoned tool gathering dust in a corner. Gyokuyu, the consort she served, had eventually agreed to let her rest, though her reasoning was only partially motivated by kindness. Ever since the poisoning incident, people had been approaching Gyokuyu endlessly with questions about Mao Mao's condition. The constant interruptions had become tiresome. Allowing Mao Mao to disappear from public view for a while conveniently reduced the nuisance. While casually speaking with her, Gyokuyu mentioned that Gaoshin had visited earlier that morning. Jinshi's trusted aide had apparently arrived looking unusually idle, so Gyokuyu decided to hand him a task more suitable for an overgrown child than a palace official. She ordered him to pull weeds in the garden. The image amused Mao Mao slightly. At the banquet the previous day, she had observed Gaoshin standing near Jinshi with the composure of someone accustomed to authority. Even without formal introductions, it had been obvious he occupied a position far beyond that of an ordinary attendant. Yet despite his rank, he accepted tedious labor without protest. That alone said much about his personality. Men who carried status without arrogance were rare within the palace. It was easy to imagine why many maids quietly admired him. Not long afterward, Gaoshin appeared once again. This time, however, he carried something wrapped carefully in cloth. When he unfolded the fabric, a familiar bowl appeared between them. It contained the very soup served during the banquet, the same soup that had nearly killed the head steward. His expression grew unusually serious as he handed it to her. He warned her immediately not to drink it under any circumstances. Mao Mao stared at the bowl calmly. Even before touching it, she noticed signs of corrosion spreading across the silver surface. Oxidation had already begun eating away at the metal, leaving dull stains where shine once existed. Whatever flavor the soup once possessed had long since spoiled into something unpleasant. She assured him she had no intention of tasting it. Gaoshin explained carefully that he himself had avoided touching the bowl directly. He had used only a spoon while testing it and wrapped it immediately afterward to preserve its condition. That detail caught Mao Mao's attention. Without wasting time, she gathered a small amount of cotton and mixed it with a fine powder. Her movements were precise and practiced.
Can you explain?
I want it to be clear that what I am about to say is merely conjecture on my part.
That's fine.
At the party, did you take note of Lady Li Shu's dress by chance?
Yes, a rather garish pink, I believe.
If a concubine's dress clashes with Lady Gyokyo's, her ladies-in-waiting should step in, help her, recommend an alternative. Or at the very least, they should have worn something that matched their mistress's attire better. And yet, every one of her servants chose to dress in white instead. As such, Lady Li Shu in her gaudy dress was made to look a fool, a child that couldn't read the room. Her ladies should have let her shine. Actually, yeah, that day.
Have you no decency? That's the color you decided to wear?
Lady Aduo's ladies-in-waiting were scolding Lady Li Shu's servants for not doing their jobs. There are enemies everywhere in the rear palace. The only people a concubine can truly trust are her ladies-in-waiting. I suspect Lady Li Shu's were the ones that recommended the dress in question. And since she's so young, she agreed, not realizing it was meant to humiliate her. She didn't suspect a thing.
Not only the dress, but swapping her food, all in an attempt to embarrass concubine Li Shu.
Yes, she was unaware the bowl was poisoned. Their harassment might have saved her life. Still quite distasteful.
But why would they do such a thing?
Lady Li Shu became the previous emperor's concubine at a young age. Then her situation changed and she left the rear palace. Girls are taught from childhood that they must devote themselves entirely to their husbands. I guess, from that perspective, marrying her deceased husband's son was an indecency that went beyond words. That fingerprint near the bowl's edge. I think it was left by the person who added the poison. They must have held part of the rim while stirring it into the soup.
Seems that way.
Your fingers must never touch
The motions of someone who had repeated similar experiments countless times before. Gently, she rubbed the mixture along the surface of the bowl before brushing away the excess. At first, nothing happened. Then faint marks slowly emerged from the silver like ghosts surfacing from beneath water. Fingerprints. Gaoshan leaned closer in silence while Mao Mao explained. Human fingertips naturally secrete oils. Under normal circumstances, the traces are invisible, but silver reacts strongly to contamination and corrosion, preserving those marks more clearly than other materials. By observing the position and shape of the prints, one could determine how a person had handled the bowl. As she studied the emerging patterns, Mao Mao's thoughts drifted briefly toward the previous day. Specifically, toward the food taster whose actions she had deliberately concealed. A quiet realization settled over her. The truth might not stay hidden much longer. She counted 4 distinct sets of fingerprints. 3 belonged to individuals who had touched the exterior of the bowl. 1 likely came from the cook who prepared the soup. Another from the servant who transported it. The 3rd belonged to the food taster assigned to inspect it before serving. But the 4th pattern differed completely. Those prints rested along the rim itself. Exactly where someone would place their lips while drinking. Mao Mao's eyes narrowed slightly. That, she concluded, belonged to the poisoner. Gaoshan frowned in confusion. If the food taster had handled the dish properly, why were her fingerprints present at all? Shouldn't she have relied solely on utensils? Mao Mao answered without hesitation. The taster had almost certainly known that consort Lahua disliked or could not safely consume certain foods. Wanting to harass her, she deliberately contaminated the dish by drinking directly from it herself. It was an act rooted not in murder but petty cruelty. She likely intended to upset Lahua or humiliate her indirectly. Unfortunately for her, she had unknowingly chosen a poisoned bowl. Gaoshan remained troubled by another question. How could a servant possibly bully a consort? To most people, the hierarchy of the inner palace seemed absolute. Consorts stood near the top while servants remained disposable. Yet Mao Mao understood better than most how fragile authority truly was within those walls. She began explaining what she had observed during the banquet. Consort
area where a noble is supposed to place their lips. Hong Yang taught me that. That's all I've been able to gather.
May I ask you one more thing?
What is it?
I want to know why you attempted to protect that lady in waiting the other day. I'm just curious. This isn't an investigation or anything.
Because she's a serving girl. Compared to a concubine, her life has no value. And especially if it belongs to a food taster.
I'll try explaining the matter to Master Jinshi.
I appreciate it. Well, I guess I should be thankful since she went out of her way to make the swap. Or I wouldn't have gotten to taste the poison. If I had the chance to do it all over again, I would have swallowed the entire bowl.
That is all.
An interesting story. I've always been impressed with how you word things, Gao Xuan.
Is that so?
Clearly an inside job, wouldn't you agree?
Based on what we know, I would, yes.
You make it sound so simple. I haven't slept a wink or even changed my clothes since yesterday thanks to this mess, so I'm done with thinking.
Your true nature is starting to show.
Who cares? There's nobody here.
You're forgetting me.
A little slack, if you please.
No,
Nothing I say will move you, huh?
we've had a long relationship.
It's not an easy thing, having someone look after you since the day you were born.
Master Jinshi, you forgot to remove your hairpin.
Yeah, good catch. Totally slipped my mind.
It was hidden in your hair. I don't think anyone noticed your true status.
Take care of it for me.
This is of great...
Lahua had attended wearing deep pink robes, a color dangerously similar to Gyokuyu's attire. In a setting governed by strict etiquette, such overlap should have been avoided entirely. Her attendants should have warned her immediately or adjusted their own presentation to prevent awkward comparisons. Instead, they all wore plain white. The contrast had made Lahua stand out in the worst possible way, almost as if she were imitating another consort intentionally. It was too deliberate to be accidental. The attendants had set her up to appear foolish. From there, the argument that broke out between different groups of servants during the banquet suddenly made perfect sense. Another faction must have mocked Liwa's attendants openly, criticizing them for failing to guide their mistress properly. Inside the rear palace, enemies existed everywhere. A consort's attendants were supposed to function as her shield against humiliation and manipulation. Yet Lahua was still young, inexperienced, and painfully naive. She trusted those around her too easily. Compliments and false loyalty blinded her to the malice hiding beneath polite smiles. Even tampering with her meals had become another form of harassment. Ironically, that cruel act may have saved her life. If the food taster had not sipped directly from the poisoned soup out of spite, events could have unfolded very differently. Mao reflected briefly on Lahua herself. Despite her youth, the woman carried a complicated history that invited endless judgment from others. She had once belonged to the previous emperor before eventually entering the current emperor's harem. In the eyes of many within the palace, such circumstances stained her reputation no matter how innocent she truly was. Resentment surrounded women like her constantly. The fingerprint on the rim, however, remained the most important clue. Mao recalled something Hongniang once taught her shortly after arriving at the palace. Touching the rim of a drinking vessel intended for someone of higher rank was considered deeply disrespectful. The area where a noble placed their lips had to remain untouched by inferiors. Only someone careless, ignorant, or malicious would violate such etiquette. Gaoshan absorbed everything silently before finally asking the question lingering in his mind since the investigation began. Why had Mao protected the food taster? For the first time during their conversation, her expression changed sharp.
Great importance, you know. It's something only special individuals can wear. You should take better care of it.
Yes, I'm aware.
I highly doubt it. I'll be off. Excuse me.
Fine, let's do this.
Oh Oh yeah, did you manage to get offered any hairpins?
A few.
Wonderful! So, you can get out of the rear palace now!
Wait, what did you just say?
You can get out of the rear palace now?
I want to hear everything you know!
Sure thing. So, you know how the rear palace is off limits to most men? If you're able to get special permission, a man can escort a woman outside the palace walls.
Interesting. So that's the motive behind distributing hairpins at the banquet.
Exactly! And it works the other way too. You can use one to ask somebody to take you out of the palace.
I see. Thanks so much, Xiaolan. I'll try.
I'll be rooting for you. Bye, Mau Mau, and thanks a bunch for the hawthorn. They were so delicious.
I received a total of 4 hairpins, 2 of which were from men. But considering how one of them lost a certain part of their anatomy, does he still count?
Apothecary.
Right then.
Master, a woman from the rear palace sent this.
Huh? Let's see. Come on, did a lady from the banquet take the gesture seriously? If she's attractive, guess it won't be a total waste. I only gave a single hairpin to the Jade Pavilion during the banquet, so this is from... Oh yes, that one.
Ply. The air around her stiffened like an irritated cat preparing to lash out. Sensing the sudden hostility, Gao Shen quickly clarified that he was not accusing her of wrongdoing. He simply wanted to understand. Mao Mao relaxed slightly before answering in a quieter tone. A consort's life held immense value within the palace. A servant's life, on the other hand, meant almost nothing. And among servants, food tasters ranked near the very bottom. If the truth emerged fully, the woman would be blamed immediately and executed without hesitation regardless of intent. The system demanded sacrifices whenever fear spread. Someone weak would always be offered first. Gao Shen understood immediately. He promised to relay the situation carefully to Jin Shi and choose his words with caution. Yet despite everything, Ma Mao admitted something strange. Part of her actually felt grateful toward the food taster. Because of that incident, she had been able to experience a rare poison firsthand. There was even the faintest trace of disappointment in her voice as she mentioned that swallowing more of it might have allowed her to learn additional effects. Only Ma Mao could discuss poison with the enthusiasm of a child lamenting unfinished research. Later, when Gao Shen reported the matter to Jin Shi, it became obvious how heavily the incident had weighed on him. He had apparently spent the entire night awake, thinking endlessly about every detail surrounding the poisoning. As they spoke, Gao Shen also pointed out the ornament hidden partially beneath Jin Shi's hair. The hairpin he wore signified a status too important to ignore. If noticed openly, it could attract dangerous attention. Meanwhile, rumors continued spreading through the palace like wildfire. Even Xiaolan eventually heard about the poisoning and immediately rushed to question Ma Mao about the banquet. More specifically, she wanted to know whether Ma Mao had received any hairpins from influential figures there. When Ma Mao admitted she had, Xiaolan nearly exploded with excitement. To ordinary palace maids, hairpins carried enormous meaning. Receiving one from a man could grant certain privileges. In some situations, it allowed a maid temporary permission to leave the inner palace under escort. It could even function as a sign of personal favor or romantic interest depending on the circumstances. Ma Mao listened blankly at first. Then realization struck. She quietly counted her belongings.
I wonder what excuse I can use to turn her down.
Excuse me. Thank you for waiting.
And who might you be?
I get that a lot.
Has anyone told you makeup changes your appearance drastically?
Yeah, I get that a lot too.
Enough of this chit-chat. So why did you summon me here?
I wish to visit my family.
Your family? I mean, do you realize what these are meant for?
I was told I could go home temporarily. As long as you can vouch for me, that is.
You're quite a bold girl. A mere lady-in-waiting demanding that a military officer vouch for her?
Yes,
I suppose that's the only reason you requested to meet with me today.
Yes.
I don't know whether you're dauntless, clueless, or a bit of both. I see how it is. So I'm just supposed to let you exploit me for your homecoming without getting anything in return.
No. As a matter of fact, I believe I can offer you suitable compensation.
Huh?
Come view the flowers over at the Verdigris house.
The Verdigris house? One night at such a high-class brothel would cost an entire year of my salary.
Well, if you're worried, feel free to show them one of these introduction letters. Heidi, Joka, or Mei.
This is literally too good to be true. Those are the 3 princesses that not even the highest rank officials can afford.
If you have trouble believing me, I guess that's that. My deepest apologies. Sorry for wasting your time.
Hold on, maybe...
It's unfortunate, but I suppose I have no other choice than to find another party more interested than you.
She has other contacts? Look at those hairpins! Is that one made of rose quartz and another out of silver? They're obviously for people who far outrank me. Just who is this girl anyway? She might actually be telling the truth. No, it's way too suspicious. Then again, if it's true, this is a once-in-a-lifetime.
One necklace from Gyokuyu, one hairpin from Jinshi, another from a military officer named Lihaku, and one more from consort Lahua. 2 of the hairpins had come from men. The absurdity of the situation made her think dryly about Jinshi in particular. Considering his rumored condition, did someone missing certain essential components still technically qualify as a man? Elsewhere inside the palace grounds, Lihaku was training when word reached him that a palace maid wished to see him. The announcement confused him instantly. The hairpin he had given during the banquet was nothing more than polite courtesy. He never imagined anyone would actually seek him out afterward. Still, curiosity won out quickly. If a beautiful woman had come searching for him, refusing the meeting would be foolish. But when he learned the visitor belonged to the Jade Pavilion, an uncomfortable memory surfaced. He had handed a hairpin to only one servant there, Mao Mao. The moment he realized this, he briefly considered pretending to be unavailable. Unfortunately, it was already too late. When they finally met face to face, Lihaku almost failed to recognize her. At the banquet, makeup and formal clothing had transformed her appearance entirely. Standing before him now was a plain-looking girl with tired eyes and an unimpressive presence. Mao Mao skipped unnecessary pleasantries and stated her request immediately. She wanted him to escort her outside the palace. Specifically, she wished to visit home. Lihaku felt irritation rising at once. For a low-ranking servant to casually request assistance from a military officer bordered on outrageous. But Mao Mao remained completely calm. She assured him compensation would be provided. Then she revealed 3 wooden tablets. The moment Lihaku saw them, his entire attitude changed. They were invitations to the Verdigris house. Not ordinary invitations, either. These granted access to 3 of the establishment's highest-ranking courtesans. The value of such an opportunity was staggering. Men of wealth and influence spent fortunes pursuing even a brief encounter with women of that caliber. Some officials could work for years without ever receiving such access. Suspicion immediately entered Lihaku's mind. But temptation arrived even faster. When Mao Mao casually threatened to bring her offer elsewhere, she produced additional hairpins as leverage. One gleamed silver, another
Lifetime chance to meet the 3 princesses right at my fingertips. What should I do?
Go on. What's your answer?
When will you be ready to leave?
Congratulations, Mao Mao! Who would have thought you'd beat us all to the punch? I'm so happy for you, I could cry! You must have met someone wonderful!
Thanks for the kind words.
Be so casual about this!
Don't worry, I'll bring back souvenirs.
So out with it, how did you meet this guy?
Pure coincidence?
One look at the girl. You can tell she has no idea what the hairpin actually means.
I'm sure of it. How pity. His poor heart. When he finds out, it's going to shatter. This will be most amusing. I can't wait to see the look on his face.
Your dear mother. The woman has such an appetite for drama.
Eventually, Jinshi was able to finish up his work and find time to visit the Jade Pavilion. a day after Mao Mao had left for her trip.
I'm sorry, but our Momo has taken off with someone. It's only a 3-day homecoming.
The Pleasure District where I grew up shouldn't be much further away. It's actually walking distance from the rear palace, a stone's throw beyond the walls and moats. We're taking a carriage? How extravagant. Well, the 3 princesses of the Verdigris house are idolized by the population. You could even go so far as to say they're worshipped. Just being able to meet them is considered an honor.
Oh, there it is. The Pleasure District.
Many local girls look up to the courtesans and come here hoping to be one someday. But it's not easy. Even if they become a serving girl, a courtesan in training, there's no guarantee that they'll make it.
The legend.
Other contained rose quartz decorations far beyond anything associated with common servants. Those ornaments belonged to individuals of significantly higher standing than himself. The situation suddenly felt dangerous, but also impossible to refuse. In the end, desire defeated caution completely. Lihaku agreed. News of Mao Mao leaving the palace with a man spread rapidly among the maids afterward. Some reacted with excitement, others with jealousy. A few openly admired her supposed luck. Hongyang, however, observed Mao Mao's detached behavior carefully and realized something amusing. The girl still did not fully understand the implications behind receiving those hairpins. Gyokuyu merely sighed quietly and wondered how Jinshi would react once he learned about the arrangement. The answer arrived almost immediately. The next day, Jinshi visited the Jade Pavilion personally. The moment he heard Mao Mao had departed the palace alongside another man, something dark flickered across his usually beautiful expression. It was brief but unmistakable. A possessiveness rarely visible beneath his elegant demeanor surfaced for only an instant before disappearing again. Meanwhile, Mao Mao's journey itself turned out far less dramatic than the rumors surrounding it. Her destination lay only beyond the city gates in the red light district. The trip was so short she found using a carriage almost laughably unnecessary. Yet to ordinary people, the Verdigris house existed like a palace of dreams. Its highest-ranking courtesans were treated as untouchable goddesses. Men devoted entire fortunes to spending a single evening in their company. Young girls entered that world hoping to one day reach such heights, though most vanished into obscurity long before achieving anything close. Upon arrival, Mao Mao encountered the madam immediately. The reunion was not affectionate. Without hesitation, the woman struck her hard enough to leave her dizzy and nauseated before scolding her loudly in front of Lihaku. The insults came naturally, almost like routine greetings between them. Even so, preparations continued. Lihaku was eventually guided deeper into the establishment to enjoy the reward promised to him. Mao Mao handed over her savings afterward, but the amount barely satisfied the madam. She was warned bluntly that if she intended to request such extravagant arrangements again, she would need to attract
Verdigris house.
Yes.
Just look at it, so dignified.
It's an old but reputable brothel that offers a wide range of courtesans, from mid-range to top tier. Huh? Long time no see! Hi, Gramps! How's everyone?
Don't you dare long time no see me, you stupid girl.
Are you alright? And what's with this old woman?
Allow me to introduce you to the madam of the Verdigris house. She's still got it. I remember she used the same technique to help me throw up poisons.
Who's this? Are you our guest of honor? Handsome features on you, and you're sporting a pretty decent physique, too. I also hear you're a bit of a rising star.
Complimentary or not, maybe you shouldn't say all that to his face.
Hey, Irene should be making tea today, so go fetch her for me.
Ma'am.
Irene?
Master Lihaku, just how strong are your arm muscles?
I do train them pretty frequently.
You know what? This could work. Come with me, please.
It's really happening.
Make a good first impression, yeah?
You bet.
You'll go in fast. 10 whole months without a single word of warning to anybody here.
I had no say in the matter. Did you bother reading the letter I sent?
Of course I did, or I would have turned your friend away instead of treating him like a king.
Yeah, I've got it with me. Half the wages I've earned working at the Rear Palace so far. I asked if they wouldn't mind paying me in advance.
That's not nearly enough for Pyrene. Not by a long shot.
Can't we agree it's enough for some tea?
She won't let that brawny hunk out of here without having a bit of fun.
I knew it. I guess it's just out of our control then.
Ah, that won't fly. I'm adding it to the tab.
I'll be in debt forever.
In that case, bring more customers like your friend. Young with a little dough so we can drain them for a long time.
Would eunuchs count? No, the ladies would be obsessed with him and it would ruin business. There's Gauchwan, but I doubt he'd be interested. I guess I could...
Far wealthier clients. Leaving the establishment behind, Ma Mao wandered through the surrounding district. The contrast within the area always fascinated her. The main streets glowed with beauty. Lantern light painted the night in warm gold while laughter drifted from luxurious buildings overflowing with music, perfume, and silk. Wealthy patrons moved through the crowds chasing pleasure as though the world beyond the district did not exist. Yet only a few turns away, the illusion crumbled. Narrow alleys stretched into darkness where beggars huddled beside broken walls. Drunks slept in filth while abandoned children wandered like ghosts between rotting buildings. Hope disappeared quickly in places like these. Ma Mao walked through both worlds without hesitation. Eventually, she arrived home. After 10 months away, almost nothing had changed. The familiar scent of medicine greeted her before anything else. And then she saw him. Her father looked up calmly upon her arrival, reacting with such little surprise that it almost seemed she had merely returned from an afternoon errand instead of nearly a year inside the imperial palace. No dramatic reunion followed, no emotional embrace. That quiet normalcy suited them perfectly. They spent hours speaking together afterward. Ma Mao described the strange people she had encountered, the bizarre incidents within the Rear Palace, and the countless absurd situations surrounding Jin Shi and the consorts. Her father listened patiently the entire time, occasionally offering small comments while preparing medicine with the same steady hands she remembered from childhood. For the first time in months, the tension inside her chest finally loosened. That night, she slept in her own bed again. The room felt unchanged by time. The blankets carried familiar scents. The silence no longer felt oppressive. As her breathing slowly deepened into peaceful sleep, her father watched quietly from nearby. In his eyes, Mao Mao's journey into the inner palace had never been simple coincidence. Too many unlikely events had aligned perfectly. Too many encounters had pushed her toward paths she never would have chosen herself. Whether guided by luck, misfortune, or something far more complicated, her life had begun moving in a direction neither of them fully understood. And somewhere beyond the walls of the pleasure district, beyond the glittering palace drenched in secrets and ambition, fate continued waiting patiently for her next step.
Could entice the quack doctor if I'm desperate.
Your old man ought to be home, Mao Mao, so hurry up and pay him a visit already.
All you have to do is cross a single street, and the face of the town changes dramatically. The roads become lined with shacks, beggars, syphilitic streetwalkers. Just how I remember it. Hello, Dad. I'm home.
Oh, welcome back. You were gone a while.
I finally got away. So you know that day when I ran into town real quick to get dyes for my freckles? Well, suddenly... I've still got 2 days left before I have to return to the Rear Palace.
I see.
I'm sleepy, but also want a bath.
You should ask for one at the Verdigris house tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I will.
The Rear Palace. twist of fate.
Next time, wheat stalks.
Alright, everyone, that is for today's reaction on Anime Sensei reaction. Thank you for so much for watching and spending your time with me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notification so you won't miss you won't miss the next reaction. Let me know your true favorite moment and break it down in the comment, because I always love reading what you guys think. We still have a lot of amazing anime moments, crazy battle, emotional scene, and unexpected trip coming soon on the channel. I truly appreciate all the support, and I can't wait to watch more anime together with you all. Take care everyone, and I will see you in the next reaction video.